Van Nistelrooy looks to be leading Manchester United in their midweek EFL Cup draw against Leicester City, but looks like Sporting Lisbon's Ruben Amorim favored to take the job for the Red Devils.
Yeah, this doesn't seem to have moved a ton since we started hearing the words yesterday that Amorim was the target. I think that there was a story that they were sending a delegation to Lisbon. They had a Portuguese Cup match yesterday. Did Sporting, which I'm pretty sure that they won. I haven't checked the score, but it did look like everything was coming together. But now the Guardian was reporting that their push to appoint Amorim at Old Trafford has been held up by negotiations with Sporting regarding his 30-day notice period. United have informed the Portuguese champions of intent to pay the release clause, which is 10 million euros, and they want him in place for the game against Chelsea on Sunday, but that may not be possible unless there's a breakthrough in the negotiations. So United play 6 games across the next 30 days. They host Everton, the Premier League, on December 1st. There's confidence that they can get Amorim in before this, but there seems to be some sort of contractual glitch, I guess, that is holding this up. I wonder if that will change United's mind. I mean, talking about this move for United, this is rushing to hire the next up-and-coming, he's 39 years old, I think.
Yep.
The next up-and-coming young European manager who has done incredible stuff at Sporting, but it is a dramatically more intense environment at Old Trafford and in the Premier League than it is with Sporting Lisbon. And they kind of just did this. I'm not comparing tactics. I'm not comparing mentality or how they coach. Don't really know enough about Amorim to say that he is alike to Eric Ten Hag or not, much like Eric Ten Hag. But this is instead of giving Ruben Van Nistelrooy a little bit of a period to figure things out, someone who's been there, somebody who knows the squad, somebody who understands the lay of the land culturally, they're going to turn to somebody who's got to jump right into the deep end. And it could work out. It really could work out. It just seems like a rush job to me.
A little bit of a parallel situation. Eric Ten Hag had led a powerhouse within that domestic league to prominence and getting some good wins and elevated some of the players in his squad. And then Amorim in Portugal, Sporting, one of the powerhouses in that league. I'm sure I don't know too much about the inner workings, but he's found a lot of success in his 4 years there. I think they've won a championship or 2. And I checked, they did win their Portuguese League Cup 3-1 over Nacional, if that's how you say it. So
it's Portuguese. It's Portuguese, so it's probably got something else going on. But I'm not going to correct you.
I appreciate that. But to your point of 30 days, that is, 6 games. That could derail or elevate your season within that time span. So
right. Well, look, unless they're giving him some sort of grace period. Right, and again, we can talk about the tactics. Luke's saying that he plays a 3-4-3. He plays with a back 3. He plays fluid soccer. I mean, they want movement, right? It's not just everybody static. And you look at the squad at United, and they do not have a mobile squad. They do not have a squad that screams, "Hey, this is going to be a perfect fit for Amorim's system." So there's that. And if you're not going to give him a grace period, then what the hell are you doing here? But if you're giving him a grace period, you're sort of accepting the idea that this could get worse for United rather than get better. This is not a move that screams we're trying to salvage this season. We're trying to get into a European place. We're trying to do something to make the fans happy because this is not where United is supposed to be. This is a move that says we're thinking 3 years down the line. And that's interesting to me. I'm not saying it's the wrong decision. I do think you have to think long term, but it just feels odd to do all of this now when you're already foundering, when you don't have the personnel necessary to compete at a higher level, and you're just going to give the keys to the car to a guy who's never driven this track before.
Yeah, there's a whole nother level of pressure, intensity, attention, just cameras, and all the corporate obligations and media obligations. I mean, we saw David Moyes have difficulty with that transition back in the day, coming from a team that didn't necessarily have the spotlight like that, and that could be a difficult transition. And a team in turmoil, like I was saying, Sporting may have their own internal politics and whatnot, but is it as dire, or shall I say poisonous, as the United locker room could be? I mean, does he have experience trying to
Yeah,
turn a
yeah,
giant? It's almost like a cruise ship. Like, do
yeah.
you
It
turn?
is.
How do you turn that boat around? And maybe it's in a
Yeah,
narrow passageway, not a lot of room for error. No one's going to accept a crash from a cruise ship, and they're going to get the captain out
yeah.
of there,
He got
at the
dropped.
first sign of
He
danger.
got dropped onto the Titanic, 500 yards from the iceberg, and he's got to figure out how to turn the ship around. That's right. That's
Yeah,
what it
I
is.
like that analogy. So, as it stands now, the upcoming matches for United today, in the Cup, EFL Cup against Leicester, then in the league at home against Chelsea on Sunday, Europa League the following Thursday against PAOK.
Yeah.
And they
The, the,
haven't won a game in the Europa League, so pressure's on there too.
Yeah, I think they're going to be fine. Well, Leicester, I don't know in the League Cup. I really don't know what Ruud van Nistelrooy is going to do with that lineup today, because that is sort of a fascinating situation. Knowing that you're a lame duck manager, that you're really just there to make sure, I don't know, the thing doesn't blow up somehow. And Leicester, I mean, Leicester could make a go of this. I mean, Leicester is proving that they have the ability to stay up this season. I think so far it's early, but they're on the right track in terms of staying up. Maybe they make a push for the League Cup, and knocking off United, no matter how bad United is at the moment or where they are, is a nice thing to crow about. In terms of the league, Chelsea's going to wreck them. I mean, I don't see any other result that comes from this moment. And whether Amorim's in place or not, I don't think it matters. Chelsea is going to look at Chelsea right now compared to where United is. Maresca's got them flying. And he's talking about he doesn't have pressure to finish top four at Chelsea, that this is a long-term project. And I guess if ownership, if Todd Bowley has given him, or whoever's in charge, I guess, it's not Bowley, but whoever's in charge at Chelsea is giving him that leeway to talk about a longer term project. At the same time, if it's not pressurized like that, good, let these guys grow. But they are growing right now, and Chelsea looks like a top four finisher, whereas United is a listing ship.
Yeah, Chelsea gave Liverpool everything they could the other weekend, and yeah, they're in flying form. You'd say that they're definitely on the ascent. Can Manchester United say the same? Not at this moment. Luke with another comment. United have spit out and chewed up managers for the last 11 years. Hope it's different, but it may not be. Nothing at this point really says it will be different. I
No.
mean, is it? I mean, you got to point the finger at the players. It's above and below the manager. The managers at United have been the
Well,
middlemen. They got
but
poison in the
think about
in
this
the locker
moment,
room and
right?
in the boardroom.
So a lot of time it was the football leadership was bad, right? It wasn't getting the job done. They had their transfer policy and the decisions they were making in regards to the market were bad. You have the Glazers, who are, absentee, but obviously still sort of the targets of disdain from United fans when things are not going well. You have now the switch, right? The Glazers are still the majority owners, but Ineos has come in and taken a controlling stake. They are now the ones in charge of making decisions, right? It comes to Ratcliffe and the people that they're putting together on that side. But it is very transitional, right? It's still, you talk about turning around a ship. That's what Ineos is trying to do, right? Ultimately, it's down to Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe, and they're the ones trying to turn this thing around. And you can't expect, like reasonably, you can't expect it to happen overnight or even in one season. But the problem is that every decision you make now has the potential to reverberate poorly or positively down the line. And I don't think they have a sense yet of what that is, what that looks like. Again, I'll go back to the squad, and I would dare anybody to look at this United squad and think, yeah, they've got the pieces here that if they get the right manager in, they're a top 4 or 5 finisher. I don't see it at this point. I mean, there's some talent there, but the pieces individually don't seem to work. They got a lot of dead weight. If you are dependent on Casemiro at this point, man, I'm sorry, I can't see you winning anything. And I respect the hell out of his career, but he's not that player now.
Yeah, you could maybe say that they're comfortably a top half team without really, endangering yourself of going out into a limb. Top eight. I mean, are they a conference league team, a Europa League team? They're a
Uh,
middling team in Europa League right
yeah,
now.
they are. Well, this is the good shout from Nate, right? At some point, you have to ask why we still talk about Manchester United. What other lower table team gets so much attention? I mean, that
That's what
is
I said. Are they still going to be the commercial juggernaut after
well,
if
this is
this
the thing. They're the
continues?
Dallas Cowboys of English football. It doesn't really matter where they are on the table. They're generating the headlines. I made the analogy, and this is for all the old heads out there who watched. For my age, you would have watched the reruns on Nickelodeon or whatever. It's a little Marsha, Marsha, Marsha. Like it's always about Manchester United somehow, even when yeah, even when there are other things happening in the world. So yeah, we should move on. We should be done with United for now until they prove that they deserve our attention. Robert, no more United.
All right, for the sake of everyone's morning, let's move along from Manchester United.